ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the launch of TBR Racing's 2015 Formula Student Car. Today is the combination of 16 months' worth of hard work from around 53 undergraduates within the Department of Mechanical Engineering with one sole goal: to win Formula Student 2015 UK. To give you a run through of what we're going to go through today, I'm going to give you a bit of perspective on what Formula Student is, so what we're actually competing in here, who TBR Racing are. Then we're going to launch the car you can see to your left, and then talk you through our plans for the remainder of the season. I then want to introduce you to the guys that made this entirely possible. Before we get to that, I would like to invite Tony Miles, the Head of Mechanical Engineering, to say a few words.
Thanks, Tom. That's a really difficult act to follow. I've made a few notes to make sure I don't forget anything, because I suffer from what's known as craft disease. The polite version is I can't remember a flipping thing. So this is certainly one of our flagship events, and I have to say that every year I think it's about the best ever, and every year it gets better and better. So it really is fantastic. Before we go into thanking people, I'd just like to say one other thing about TBR Racing and the whole team. They're probably the best ambassadors and the best recruiting agents we could possibly get for university. Because on every open day, at every occasion when we have visitors coming to the campus, one of the premier places after the biomechanics round that we take them to is to the Formula Student activity. And meeting the students, seeing what they do, is probably the best motivator, the best recruiter that we could possibly get. So it's a really great credit to them all. Now it is very much a team effort. I think that Tom indicated 53 students. They actually recruit students from every year now at the universities. They have first, second, third and fourth year students all involved. And obviously, as you've probably gathered, each year a team in the third year will design the next year's car. So we're going to see the launch of the TBR15, and I'm led to believe the TBR16 is going to be even better. we will see. But I would like to just thank a few people that have been really instrumental. First of all, the backstage group that I think have helped in the organisation of this launch event, and really a great credit to them for the work. If it's anything as spectacular as last year, it's nothing short of stunning. I would never believe we could put a show on like this at university. But I'd also like to make a very big tribute to our technical support staff. Really, these people are so key to all of our activities, and in particular in helping with the Formula Student activity and the stuff they make. They go way beyond their normal contract employment to work all the hours of the day to help the Formula Student team get their act together. The other point to make is that these Formula Student team have all been working 24/7 while their colleagues from other disciplines are busy enjoying the occasional sunshine that we get and the after semester activities. These guys are working 24/7, and they'll be doing that over virtually the whole of the summer, preparing the car for the various competitions that they enter. So it's really a great tribute to all of them for their drive and enthusiasm they put into this project. But I'd also like to thank other people. They're also the sponsors. Now we give the students from the department operating budget a measly sum of something like 20,000, 30,000, goes up every year. But really it's a launch event that helps them to kick off. But they raise a huge amount in sponsorship by going to industry and actually getting industrial support, both in kind and in cash, to actually support the event. Without that, an event like this would not be possible. And they're competing against teams from other universities that just incrementally change the car year on year. These people start with a brand new car each year, so it's a really tough competition for them. But it is, from our point of view, very much an educational process. I'd also like to thank all of the academic staff that have helped in contributing, and in particular Kevin Robinson and Speed Owen, that really have been the backbone of helping the Formula Student team in getting their car off the ground. So they really are instrumental in helping with that. And I think finally, I'm sure you'll all join me in wishing the team, both the TBR15 team and the TBR16 team that will be taking part in various competitions, the very best of luck. We'll be rooting for them all the way. And we really hope that they get the accolades and the rewards that they deserve for all the hard work they put in. So over to Tom for the rest of the launch event.
Okay, now just to give you a bit more background, I'd like to introduce myself formally. I'm Tom Pearson-Smith. I am the project manager for TBR15, so the car that we have designed and built this year. Formula Student is the competition that we compete in. Formula Student is a building ground for future engineers. It challenges undergraduates around the world to design, manufacture, and compete in a single-seater racing car, much like Formula One and Greater Formula. It is a truly, truly global event now. From its humble beginnings in the 1980s as Formula SAE in America, it has grown now to over 15 competitions worldwide, and nearly almost 600 teams in total, which is huge in comparison to the 10 or 20 teams that turned up back in the 80s. In the UK, it began in 2000 with the first ever competition at Silverstone. And it really is, it's one of the only motorsport formulas where you see an electric car compete against a combustion car, compete against a car with no wings, compete against a car with wings. So it's a very novel motorsport formula, allowing students the freedom to design what they think is the best solution to a design problem. Formula Student also isn't just a race. Formula Student isn't just a pure motorsport formula. It's an engineering challenge, so there's static and dynamic events to it. So the static events, the students are challenged in design, cost and business elements, all by presentation format. And then there's the dynamic test, where you actually test your car on track in a 0 to 75 metre acceleration test, a figure of 8 skid pad test to test the maximum lateral G of the car, and also an A to B sprint test to test the raw speed, and an endurance test, so a half-an-hour test to see how reliable your car is. Back here at Bath, as I said, the programme started in 2000, along with the first ever event at Silverstone. The team took along a Class 2 entry, so only entered the static competitions, didn't bring with them a running car in 2000, and brought the first ever running car to Silverstone in 2001. Unfortunately, cameras weren't invented back in the early 2000s, so I haven't got a photo of the 2001 car. But the earliest photo I could find was the 2004 car. So you can see they look very different to the cars you probably saw as you walked in from the last 3 years. They're commonly built from steel space frames using motorcycle 4-cylinder engines wrapped in a glass fibre. They tended to be around 200 to 250 kilos, so it's quite weighty. The team was known back then as BURT, or Bath University Racing Team, before it changed in 2008 to Team Bath Racing, or TBR, you might hear us refer to it as we walk around. In 2010, we had our first ever trip abroad, so we went over to Austria for the first time. And then in 2011, the team actually made the trip across the pond to America to compete in California. In 2012, the team researched into aerodynamics and put wings on the car for the first time. And in 2013, the branding was changed again from a sort of common red and black from previous years of Castrol or Relentless to a green of BP. Last year, 2014, the car you probably all saw release a year ago and launched went on to compete at 3 events around Europe. They came 7th in the UK event, 31st in Germany. Unfortunately, because of a wheel failure, they were running in the top 10, so that was really disappointing to see. And then 5th in the Austrian event, with a real high of coming at a podium position in the skid pad event. So that may not sound hugely impressive, but if you bear in mind there's 80 individual teams at each event, that put us as 47th in the world rankings, 20 places higher than every single other UK team. So we're really proud of that. It's really something we want to hold on to. And they really have set the bar really, really high, last year's team, for us to try and go one better. But that's exactly what we plan to do. So Formula Student at Bath. I thought I'd give you a bit more perspective on how we've come about from being students to suddenly building a racing car. How does that happen? Most students, that doesn't tend to happen anyway. So we formed last February as a group of 30 engineers, undergraduates, all from different backgrounds. Some of us had just come back from placement. Others had been studying for their first years of their master's degree and just gone straight into third year. So we all formed with not that much experience. We thought we maybe knew a little bit about Formula One. Some of us watched Formula One. Okay. But then we sat down and we had an 11-week period to design a car completely from scratch. And I can't emphasise that enough, but this car is from scratch. A lot of other universities iterate a car year on year and take last year's design, remake it, and then iterate it in a little area. This car has been a clean sheet of paper and a clean team to start fresh from. So it really does emphasise that us engineers are getting full value of learning about how an automotive car works. We then had this full car design and a business case design to take to the Class 2 event at Silverstone. So the static event. We came as a group, second overall, which out of 21, which is good, and we won the costing event outright. But we were, at a bittersweet note, we were half a point out of 500 away from winning it from the University of Eindhoven. So that was good, but it definitely gave us the motivation to come back this year and say, right, we need to go one better next year, we need to win this thing. After going to Silverstone, we went away with the final year team, so we went to Germany and to Austria, and followed the final year team at their events, learning a bit about how a Formula Student team operates as a race team, and learning more about Formula Student abroad and how the level that other teams do it. The German and American teams who do it on millions and millions of pounds worth of budget and backing from Audi and from Mercedes, and it's just another level to compete again. And they did really, really well on the level that they're standing in comparison to. So that was great to learn that. We then came back from our summer abroad, and last September we took over the reins as the team as a whole, and we started to run the business element as well as start manufacturing our car from scratch. We set out 2 business goals really, to try and increase the level of sponsorship that we can get, so the amount of money we can bring in to build the car that we think can win Formula Student. So we wanted to increase our publicity. We sought out to do this by going to events which target engineering, so go to primary school events and spread the word about what Team Bath Racing are doing and how good a career in engineering is. So we went to Bedford Modern School up there and competed against other Formula Student teams in a presentation style event. We went to Tomorrow's Engineers Week in Westminster in London. We went to Cheltenham Science Festival and to the Bath Ness Council Science Festival just down the road in Royal Victoria Park as well. And then we also had our own open day for first and second years to understand how Formula Student works and built a little wooden chassis to try and get them involved a bit earlier. And we also went to a more specialist event, the Advanced Engineering Show in the NEC in Birmingham, to hopefully pitch to some of the sponsors and the parts manufacturers that we want to be attracting to the team. Secondly to that, our business strategy aimed at increasing exposure. So we used what we have in our team. We have really, really strong ties with a number of different Formula One teams. So we used that to our advantage and took the car to the McLaren Autosport Show and the Williams Open Day last autumn and last summer. What we're hoping to get out of this is to advertise it to Formula One teams, advertise it to Formula One teams, suppliers and supporters and sponsors, hoping that we can attract some of them over to support us and help us out. We then also were very fortunate to hold an incredible event last November, Campus Keynotes. Campus Keynotes is Red Bull's Al Peasland, so head of technical partnerships at Red Bull Racing, came down with the championship winning RB6 and did a talk on how motorsport relates to top edge engineering and how Formula One relates to what we're doing as a Formula Student team. Fantastic opportunity for us and the marketing to get out of that, to be on redbull.com worldwide, have an event going around at our university with our team was absolutely amazing. To mention one more thing about increasing exposure, we did something a little off the wall. We did a charity Christmas video, which probably many of the department were pestered about being in, but it was just a bit of fun basically to raise some money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. If you haven't already seen it, it's on our YouTube channel if you want to check it out afterwards. Along with those business goals, we have the small matter of manufacturing a car from scratch. So this entirely takes place at the university in our build room, which is just down behind the back of 4 East. Where we have our own autoclave, where we lay out all the composite components ourselves. As you can see us making the mould for the monocoque, the lower section of the tub, last October time, and that's entirely done by students, and then as well making all the metallic components in our student model shop, so making the metal components, using milling machines and lathes to make all the metallic components as well. And this is entirely extracurricular, so that didn't form part of our degree in making this thing. We also sought to invest in the future, so we didn't want to sit on our laurels, we wanted to actually push forward and get facilities that future years will benefit from as well. So we committed ourselves to composites. We think it's the right way to go forward, building carbon fibre components such as the ones you'll see in a second. We got with the help of M&W, one of our supporters, we got a carbon extraction system, which is fantastic. It means we can work with carbon fibre without the hazardous carbon dust being inhaled by the team. So that really was fantastic to be able to have for the next few years as well. We then also researched into natural fibres to be able to have a more sustainable composite product that you'll see on our car later in the year. Basically, we'll have a natural fibre seat. And we also looked into brand new techniques such as resin infusion to make even more lighter and stiffer wings and aerodynamic devices. We also invested in the internal combustion engine. Through a partnership with Kistler, we got an in-cylinder pressure transducer and combustion analysis equipment to be able to understand the fundamentals of engine performance, and really hopefully that will take us a step forward in getting performance detrimentally down the line for the whole car. As well as this, we all, in the final year team, the 24 of us as final years, did a dissertation or a final year project on a specific area of the car, so a 50,000 word report on a specific area to try and hone our understanding of that and hopefully get them even faster at the end of the day. So that's how the project works at Bath, and that's how it's run here, and I think it's run very successfully in that way. We learn a lot, and we're doing not too badly at the moment. Now let's move to why we're really all here. TBR15. So as a group of engineers, we sat down 16 months ago in what's commonly known as the Sweatbox, a very hot room in Mechenge, and went, how do we build a car that's going to win Formula Student UK 2015? Okay, so we want to have, there's no minimum weight limit in Formula Student, so you want to have it as light as you possibly can, and all the tracks are very tight and twisty, so it's all about acceleration and handling. So we said high power to weight, that's key. Dynamically excellent, also key, so handles really well. Have an aerodynamic advantage over a component, so be able to generate downforce for an aerodynamic device, to have even more grip to corner more quickly, and to be able to prove everything we put on the car. So have a full understanding of every single component that we put on, so that we know exactly what it gives us in terms of lap time, in terms of weight loss, and how we prove that either be through computer simulation, through retest, or through a dynamic car test. And these are the goals we laid out as a starting point for our design. Now, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce everyone to TBR15. So now we want to show you a bit more technical detail and get underneath the skin of TBR15. First of all, our brand new wheel design, made up from a 3D printed, maraging steel, laser melted skeleton wrapped in carbon fibre and supported with rotor cell core. It manages to reduce the weight of our wheel by 50% compared to last year's wheel. Next, our suspension upright, so the bulk of the suspension system, what everything mounts to from the monocoque. Again, made by brand new technique, by laser melting of maraging steel. It manages to reduce the weight of our previous components by another 20%, which is huge, and it's made up of skins which are almost 0.5 of a mil thick in places. Our steering system is brand new again this year, so a wheel made up of a rotor cell core wrapped in carbon fibre, very Formula 1-esque, again saving weight by around 50% compared to last year's wheel. This is a really exciting wheel, and please do have a look at it after the presentation. The braking system is made up of 4 disc brakes and a pedal box mounted at the front. The pedal box is adjusted by 95mm to allow the 5th to the 95th percentile human to sit in it, as stipulated in the rules. A brand new engine for the team, moving away from the unreliable Aprilia that we used in previous years, we now have a single-cylinder KTM 500 EXC. To boost the power output of the KTM, we've introduced a turbocharger for the first time since 2004. The transmission system uses an adjustable Drexler limited slip differential. We've also moved the brakes inboard from the rear, allowing us to have the mass of those brakes closer to the centre of gravity, hoping to improve dynamic performance once again. The chassis structure is an aluminium honeycomb with 2 carbon fibre pieces either side of it. The nose cone is also 1 carbon fibre piece, so 1 carbon fibre piece of nose cone. Through extensive research and through improved material supply, we've actually been able to reduce the weight by a number of kilos in both of these devices. As you'll hear about in a later date, you'll hear from our aerodynamics lead. The rules are actually very different this year in terms of aerodynamics. We actually had a lot smaller wings compared to last year's car and a lot lower. This has forced us to move and incorporate a floor and a diffuser design for the first time in TBR racing history. The wings, both triple element wings with 3-dimensional profiles on the front and rear wing main planes, as well as the second plane for the front wing. All designed and validated in a CFD model and on track testing through pressure tapping, all by our one-man aerodynamics team, which you'll hear from in a second. So that gives you a little bit more, hopefully a little bit more insight to what we've designed from scratch and what we really hope is a really aggressive design to be able to take to Silverstone and around Europe this summer. I now want to really stress the fact that we made this car entirely from scratch and made the design decisions ourselves. So I'd like to show a little bit about the manufacturing of the car and a little bit from the leads in those specific technical areas, a bit more about why they made their design decisions.
Hi, I'm Jake, and I'm the 2015 lead powertrain design here at TBR Racing. This year, we've adopted some clean sheet thinking with regards to our powertrain, and we're no longer using previous Aprilia V-twin engine that we've used for the last few years. We're moving to a new KTM 500 single-cylinder engine. Alongside this, we're running E85 fuel and a turbocharger. Had this KTM engine on the dyno since last summer, and we've had it running turbocharged for the last 6 months. We're already seeing 26% more power, 37% more torque, while retaining the same overall powertrain weight as the previous Aprilia engine. We're hoping that these new exciting changes here at Bath can give us the edge over the competition.
Hi, I'm Mark and I'm this year's aerodynamics leader for Team Bath Racing. Due to new regulations this year, the wings are considerably smaller and lower than in previous years. To compensate for this, we've developed Team Bath Racing's first floor and diffuser, and even with this have managed a weight saving of 1.5 kilograms for the full aerodynamics package. We've also had new manufacturing techniques, including resin infusion and laminate structures for the wings. We hope that all of this combined will allow us to be very competitive and push for the win this year at Silverstone.
Hello, I'm Joss Kelly, chassis manager for Team Bath Racing. This year my main project has been focused on creating an accurate vehicle dynamics simulation of our car so that we can use it to test drive the car design on the tracks before the event, and this way experiment with chassis parameters to try and find the best design. We've also used the simulation model to develop the load cases for the suspension designers so that they can create their parts to be as light as possible. And hopefully this will be a winning recipe for this year.
So that is TBR15, and that's some of the guys who've been behind the technical decisions. I'm hoping to introduce the rest of them in a second. But before that, after this event, we go on to race at Silverstone on the 9th to the 12th of July at Formula Student UK. We then take the car to the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg in Austria to compete in Formula Student Austria in mid-August. We then go on to the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona to compete at Formula Student Spain at the end of August. This 3-race calendar for us is really exciting. We really think we can bring home some serious results this summer. So please keep an eye on how we perform. Follow us on our Facebook page or our Twitter page. I'd now like to introduce to you the guys that have made this possible. So I want to get up each individual, each team member, and we'll have a quick team photo in front of the camera because I really just want to praise the guys of how much work they put in the last 16 months in terms of work. So first of all, if I introduce the little groups, don't clap at each individual person's name, otherwise it will take too long. But the operations leads this year, Ryan Marsh in testing, James Mady in build, Tom Stevens in business, Nick Upjohn in finance, and Franco Boats in media. Next to Powertrade, led by Will Charles in testing and Jake Reed in design. Next to the chassis team, led by Josh Shelley in design, Gavin Grant in dynamics, Mark Cooper in aerodynamics, Mike Graham in manufacturing, and Kevin Johnson in composites. Next, our drivers, the guys who are hoping to take this car faster than anyone else around the track. Max Teckhart, William Line, Kevin Johnson, Will Charles, Mark Tranter, and yes, Ryan, if it all goes to pot, you can drive. To take this opportunity as well to introduce TBR15. So as Tony reflected, the guys who are currently designing next year's car have already come up with a design already and have really supported us in the manufacture of our car. So I'd love to welcome them all up as well for a team photo as one full group of Team Bath Racing. try and squeeze it. She'll sit down. There we go. Should we stop there? So if nothing else shows it, I hope that demonstrated how many people are in the team.
Just quickly as well, before the topic proceeds, one last thank you. The car we're presenting to you is only the second running car in TBR history, at launch at this point anyway, and it would not have been here if it wasn't for the tireless effort of TBS. We've mocked him throughout the entire year, not being able to do a whole list of things, but none of that detracts from the fact that I think you've done a wonderful job, and can you please join me in saying thank you for that.
I didn't realise he was going to do that. To move forward, I really want to echo what Toby said right at the start. This wouldn't be possible without the support of our sponsors. And I would love to put a board of every single sponsor and what they've given us. We haven't got time for that, and I think everyone wouldn't want to sit through that as well. But just to give you a reflection on how many have supported us this year, it's just some snapshots of our Facebook uploads this year, of what each company has given us and really supported us. And without you, we would be nothing. So we are eternally grateful for what you support us with, both financially, in services, in manufacturing, in advice. We really are very, very, very grateful. To move on, for my final point, we'd like to thank the people within the department, as Tony said, again reflecting, everyone in the department and their support of the project. The machine shop, the team led by Guy Brace, to Lee and Dave everyone over there, thank you for your tirelessly machining all our components, and we apologise for the horrendous drawings and undermentioned radiuses and stuff like that. To the student model shop and the team led by Rob Petler, to Andy Church, for being fantastic in advice, teaching us how to use the milling machines, the lathes, and turn components up, as well as keeping those milling machines open for 5 minutes longer just to finish a little component at the end of the day. To the composites technicians, so to Steve, who've been incredible in helping us with advice through our carbon fibre components and scheduling it all in the autoclave to cure in time. To the people in finance, to Laura, to Jess for processing all our expenses and managing our finances this year. I again apologise for all the horrendous expenses forms we filled out incorrectly. To reception, to Marion, Alison and Cheryl for constantly putting up with me coming in and asking for posts. And most of all, I really want to say thank you to Geraint Owen and Kevin Robinson, or as they're affectionately known, Speed and Cairo within the team. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So could we just take 2 minutes to give that a round of applause, please? Right, that almost concludes our launch event. So please, after the event, please all come down, have a look at the car in more detail. Maybe not all at once, but then come have a look and grab anyone in a TBR Polo. We'd all love to chat to you about the car, and we'll probably bite your ear off and chat away for hours. You probably want to get us to shut up after a while. So please come down and chat to us about the car and about the project. We'll be more than happy to do that. Thank you all for coming, and thank you so much for Backstage for being incredible and setting this all up. It's been a fantastic show. And one last note, all these videos and this artistic whatever this launch is, has been a vision of one man within the team, so I want to say a big thanks to Kevin Johnson, who's here as well. A huge respect. Before you all come flooding down, I just want to show you what we got to this weekend. James said, second running car at the university scene, so let's see what we can do at Silverstone in a month's time.